Today is Sunday, August 15th, 2021, and today I'm going to ramble about the weather. So, this is just what summer is like, I guess. And no, this is not how the summer used to be. The summer used to be clear skies, clear blue skies. And what we get now is silver, hazy skies. It's kind of interesting. I mean, this has been going on for years now at this point, the incessant fires every single summer. We didn't used to get giant fires every summer that smoked out entire states. That didn't used to be the norm. But every year now, every summer, there's tons of fires that block out the sky. And part of it is really sad because summer is a great time to go outside and enjoy time outside, but it sucks to go outside when not only is the sky gross and ashy from all sorts of fires going on, it's also smudgy with airplanes going by and low flying drones. It's like almost, I've gotten comments before where people are like, sometimes you can't even see what's laying it down. And it's because there's so many layers of crap in the air. And I also think that a lot of times it's a drone. It's like a really low flying drone a lot of times. And you can tell the ones that are really low flying because the trail becomes huge within like a minute, literally a minute. And you can often, if there's a little wind or something, the low flying ones, you'll see that the trail becomes huge and then starts drifting off because of the wind. And the high flying ones are different, just perspective. And um, yeah, it sucks. It's supposed to be a good time to go outside and enjoy being outside, but can't even do that anymore. They basically have ruined summer with I think a lot of the fires they just do it themselves. I think it's just heat mitigation is my guess, just from Isaiah prophecy. The sun is so hot and bright. My guess is that they just do this stuff to try to combat how things are different now. And I think it's very possible that the seasons have also been screwed up by this point, and so that everything is artificial. They have to artificially try to make the seasons fit with what they're supposed to be. So, Cam B just did a video about June bugs, so people are noticing that certain seasons don't seem to be matching up right. Um, I think I briefly talked about it in a video. This last winter, it seemed like the daffodils and the tulips were coming up at odd times, and I think maybe it's just all getting out of control, and they don't really have good control over it anymore. It seems like they're really desperate and just trying anything that'll work. Every year, you see that we got these crazy fires now. So yeah, I'm rambling about the weather. Here's a morning sun already so bright and blinding. Hot spot. Looks like I've been noticing comments of people saying things like being under the sun, it literally feels like you're under a magnifying glass. Yeah, there's a firmament. Okay, totally new topic. Ramble video. I just ramble about the weather. I might ramble about it more. Oh, I guess before I move on to another topic. And I was going to mention this before, but I got sidetracked. In years past, on days like this, the weather said hazy. And I've noticed that this year, and I don't think last year they said hazy either. It seems like they just try different things to try to cover up what's going on. Do you guys ever remember in the weather report seeing things talking about hazy? Nowadays, they call this sunny. There will be days, it's gotten even worse. I took these pictures earlier in the morning. Now the sky is already just silver. And they'll call today sunny. They call stuff like this sunny. The whole sky can look like this, and the weather says sunny. So, I don't know. I guess they just are trying to pretend that this isn't reality. I guess in 2 years from now, they'll be able to point back at some weather thing and say, look, that was a sunny day, instead of the truth, which is it was not a sunny day. It was a hazy, pea soup, messy sky day. Silvery haze. Anyways, next topic, Mandela effect. And there's a reason I don't really talk about the Mandela effect because, well, one, I think a lot of the things that they talk about are really dumb, or you'll just get people say like personal Mandela effect, and it's just people telling some story that there's no way that anyone can corroborate any of that. I do believe in certain Mandela effects. Like I've made a video about Shazam. Shazam definitely was a real movie, and the so there are Mandela effects that I believe in. I think a lot of them are just psyops that the NWO plays on people, just gaslighting. They like to gaslight people, so they they've always done things like record multiple endings, and so you don't know, maybe in some theaters they play one ending, in another theater they play another ending. They've always been playing with people's minds and playing tricks. So a lot of it is like that. Just what I have for the Mandela effect community is a lot of disdain because it almost always goes off into these strange tangents about, oh, alternate realities, sun simulator. So that's the reason I don't really talk about Mandela effects because I really don't like the community. It doesn't really seem like they're religious. And in fact, like a big one thing that I'll get to in this video, a big thing that Mandela effect people do is they try to discount the Bible, saying, "Oh, the Bible's been totally Mandela affected." And so I'll briefly talk about that. So here, this is an interesting thing. I've been feeling this overwhelming, almost oppressive daytime sleepiness for the last week or so. I've also been just kind of generally stuffed up all summer, and um, I think it's just from the crap that they spray all over the place. I just go outside anyways, even though I go outside and it feels gross and oppressive outside. I just have to go outside. I don't like being cooped up in my house, and maybe there is stuff that they're spraying that makes us feel sleepy. Maybe all the fires makes, but I have been feeling just an oppressive daytime sleepiness. Maybe it has to do with the time thing. Maybe that's something I'll ramble about in this video. Time. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. The days just go by so fast, and I wake up in the morning and I don't feel rested because it just doesn't feel like I spent enough time sleeping. Anyways, uh, yeah. So here's the kind of thing that plagues Mandela effect communities. They get stuck on a lot of things instead of just realizing that outer space is fake and gay and that they can make up whatever they want every other week. And that's the way that this Mandela effect works. Oh, they're gonna try to pretend that we're like in a new alternate dimension because little factoids about outer space are changing instead of realizing that outer space is not real, and so people can just make up whatever they want. And when people are just lying about stuff, they're going to contradict themselves all the time. And so a lot of Mandela effects are just, hey, there's contradictory information out there because everybody's just taking the piss and making up lies nonstop. It's kind of like, you know how the NASA people, half of them will say, well, you see the stars, half of them will say, oh, you can't see the stars. That's not a Mandela effect going from one universe to another, where one timeline to another. Oh, guys, I jumped timelines. I cringe at all that stuff. And yeah, the simple fact is outer space is not real. So when people are bullshitting about something, they're going to come up with contradictory things. Arms reversed. Well, there is no galaxy. There is no outer space. Orbital mechanics is a bunch of BS. So it's like a moot point. I guess that's the thing. A lot of Mandela effect, it just doesn't interest me because it's like a moot point. Who cares about, see, all of this, it's, in my opinion, a lot of this stuff, it's out there to keep people trapped in this stuff. It's like they purposefully flood these edge of the truth places, like people who are studying Mandela effects, they flood these places with outer space stuff to keep them trapped in that thing. And yeah, okay. Here, so let's talk about Bible Mandela effects really quickly. Just casually dropping this lion and the lamb residue from 1864. A big problem that people have with Mandela effects and with especially biblical ones is that people assume that people in the past had everything perfect and nobody was deceived in the past, and that deception is something new. Maybe people in the past were also deceived about what was in the Bible. Maybe Lion and the Lamb was never in the Bible, but people were just mistakenly using that because they were taught false things by preachers just spouting something false. And there you can actually get more into the Lion and the Lamb thing. I think that there's like a separate but similar verse that kind of sounds, but in my opinion, it's just something people heard in church, and it's something that pastors said and other pastors heard other pastors say it. Here's just all I have to say about that. You know, the whole cleanliness is next to godliness thing. That's nowhere in the Bible. This phrase was first recorded in a sermon by John Wesley in 1778. So this person is trying to say, oh, look, in 1864, they were talking about lion and the lamb. Therefore, the Bible used to say lion and the lamb. No, 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 no. Maybe people in 1864 were just as equally confused about what the Bible says as people are today. Simple explanation. Exactly how people think that cleanliness next to godliness is like a thing in the Bible. And it's not. It's just something some pastor made up. And in fact, it's like a Jewish Babylonian thing. And the Bible, what the Bible actually says is like the opposite. Jesus basically made fun of or pointed out the hypocrisy of cleanliness rituals. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. But Jesus called them out for being hypocrites. He would point out, oh, you have all these rituals for cleaning your vessels, and you pretend to be so pure, but you're just filthy inside. So, oh, let's get back to the weather. Yeah, I mean, I kind of already rambled about this. It's really sad that it's just a thing of today that skies are smoky and hazy in the summer. It really sucks. And it didn't used to be like this. It really did not used to be like this. And are people under collective amnesia? They don't want to talk about stuff like this because it's scary to them, or nobody ever says anything anymore besides whatever the TV says. People don't talk about real life stuff anymore. And yeah. Temperatures soar as Washington and Oregon endure another major heat wave. I'll just skip through this stuff. I don't really have that much to say. It's I just thought this was an interesting hand. They love to show you things in plain sight. I mean, look at that ring finger on Darlene Salgado. Portland's 102 on Thursday was hotter than temperatures recorded in Phoenix, where the high in the desert city was a below normal 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Portland typically sees temperatures in the 80s during August. So it seems like things are a little screwed up. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. And yeah, it really does annoy me when people they try to say that there is no such thing as climate change just because that there's a lot of things wrong with the Blue Lodge climate change. Driving a car is gonna destroy my planet. Okay, yeah, there's obviously that's a bunch of BS, but there is so much obvious stuff that is different about the weather that I just hate it when people outright deny climate change. And it's really obvious that things are so different. Summer skies did not used to be silver haze, and I mean, yeah, I don't know. Here's just an interesting verse, and I referenced it earlier. Just people have noticed that things do seem out of order. Cam B did a video about June bugs being there not in June or something. And I've mentioned before flowers seeming to come up at alternate times. This just seems a little weird where it's supposed to be hotter in certain places, but it's not. In my opinion, just what it is I think that all of their weather manipulation is just starting to get out of hand and they're kind of losing control of it. And it's just becoming a really unmanageable mess with interesting things going on. Oh, I don't know if they put in here. Maybe I have it later. Somebody was talking about a heat dome somewhere, which they talked about last year too. Anyways, here's an interesting verse from Amos chapter 9, verse 13. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes him that soweth seed, and the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. So this seems to hint that in the end, seasons are going to get wacky. Oh, here we go. This is where the heat dome's going to be, somewhere in here. Oh, I guess I just picked this because the next 72 hours will be critical. I've just been seeing so much stuff about 3 days, 72 hours comes up a lot because it's 3 days. And it's just always strange how people say stuff like this. Like, why would the next 3 days be super critical? Why not like 2 days or 4 days or 5 days? It's just always weird when people are so certain, oh, the next 72 hours are going to be ultra critical. So I thought the reason I included this is because Brown, if you don't know, Brown is the really obvious invert governor of Oregon. They just reinstated a mask thing in Oregon, but then read this. Brown said, please treat these hot temperatures seriously. Heat-related illnesses are preventable. Yeah, so do you really think wearing a mask is helping really hot conditions? It's restricting people's breathing. That's only going to make it worse. So these people are total hypocrites. Nothing they say makes any sense. I mean, they just say whatever they're told. They're puppets. Here, there's going to be people that say that the heat wave would have been virtually impossible without human-caused climate change. And yeah, the only thing is to just not get political over it. That's because yeah, they're gonna say infuriating things. They'll try to say that you being a little person driving your car and you're not doing enough recycling, you're ruining the fake planet. But that doesn't mean that things aren't different now and that the sun isn't hotter than it used to be. Heat dome. They just like to point out little things like this. It's kind of a joke because we live under a dome. The firmament is a dome. Here's something that it should just be really obvious, and maybe it just needs to get pointed out more that these people are completely psychotic and that they go out of their way to do this and shove this in people's faces. This is supposed to be a tragic, serious thing going on, but they'll constantly post pictures of these people smiling. Have you noticed that? I mean, it's the same thing with they'll have videos of the Gates talking about these alleged tragic things, but they're smiling the entire time. It's just so creepy. Oh, and all I have to say about this stupid Delta thing, I don't even pay attention to this stuff, and so it's really weird to me when you hear normies talk about this stuff, and you can tell that they really care about this stuff, and it's really serious to them. I guess all you can do is pray that more and more people wake up. We're in overtime right now. We're just waiting for the last sheep to wake up. So I find it really funny and sad that the the talking heads on TV, they just keep marching forward with their nonsense, and people still eat it up, and they're just being toyed with. And like with stuff like this, 733. The harsh and frustrating reality is that the triangle variant has changed everything. If you didn't know, the fourth letter of the Greek alphabet, delta, it's a triangle. Capital delta, it's a triangle. It's a pyramid shape. Triangles are a big thing. Someone is going to have to... Is this a real thing from Fairly Odd Parents? Timmy Triangle. The Delta variant. But it's still... It just... I will never get past the huge number of people that they throw gang signs, but they seem so duped by this stuff. How could you throw the triad claw everywhere you go, but you're so duped by all this stuff? And you go out and get the shot, and I just could never, I'll never be able to wrap my mind around it. And none of them will ever come forward. Why won't anyone come forward? If you're a triad claw thrower and you're watching this video, just leave a comment. Why do you throw a triad claw? but then you're so duped about so many things. Makes no sense. So this whole thing, it's been a Chinese water torture. That's how they operate. I think back to my first awakening moments, and it's kind of embarrassing to think back that there were a few nights that I was chasing chasing just, I'm thinking of one particular instance where I was like staying up late because something was going to drop at like 2 a.m. or something stupid like that. And I wasn't doing anything, so whatever. And it's never, none of that stuff is ever going to change. There's never going to be a big drop that changes the world. And nothing's going to change until Jesus comes back. So I just think back to the days where I was a rabbit hole chaser and waiting for, oh, tonight something big's going to drop. And it never does. It fizzles out. It's never anything good. It's, how many times have you read people's headlines saying bombshell? Oh, groundbreaking. And nothing ever changes. It's all the same crap, and it's all a big Chinese water torture day after day, just dripping, annoying little water drips on your head, driving you crazy. And I've often fantasized about it really hitting critical. I want the world governments to be dissolved and for them to stage the alien invasion and for stuff to really get crazy and for the entire system to break down. I long for that because it would just be so exciting compared to this torturous Chinese water torture, which is the way that they operate. They, have you noticed that they constantly hype up something like it's going to be big, it's going to be big, and then it like fizzles out. So, getting to the end, I guess, does it say in the Bible, or where does this come from? People say it's told by certain people, so I don't think it's fact. Maybe it is. Somebody will have to let me know. I've heard before that Noah preached for like 100 years about the end is coming. And to me, that just reminds me of this whole Chinese water torture thing, that it feels like what we've been going through now on kind of a smaller time scale. It feels like we've known about these truths and we've been shouting about it, and the end is here and all the signs have been there, and we're still waiting, just like Noah knew that the end was there. But it's not like the very first time that Noah went out and said the end is here, that it started raining that day. It didn't work like that. And so I think that we are similarly in the times of Noah, in that we're out here shouting at people that the end is here, the end is here, and now is the time for them to be ignoring us and going on with life as if what we're saying isn't true. And so just one other thing that I want to point out before the end of this video, I don't know how connected all my thoughts are in this video, is the resurgence of the name Noah. Noah is so popular these days, and I think that's really telling. Noah is the second most popular name of 2020. But if you go to the popular names of the 2010s, Noah is the number one most popular name in the 2010s, and I think that's really telling. And maybe those people subconsciously, maybe they just think it's a cute name or something. They really like the name Noah. But I think it's really telling that I believe, and many others believe, that right now we are doing the time of Noah of today that Jesus talked about. And what do you know? Noah is the number one most popular name of the 2010s. And what I'm showing here is, so this is from some Social Security thing, some government website. If you go to the top names over the last 100 years, Noah doesn't even break anywhere near the top 50. So Noah was number 68 top name of the last 100 years. So it's not like Noah has always been a super popular name. Noah just recently has just had an extreme surge in popularity from the 68th. So in the past 100 years, Noah is the 68th most popular name. But in the last 10 years, Noah is the number one most popular name. Mason at number 5. I mean, there's a lot of biblical names here. Jacob, Michael, Elijah. Anyways, biblical names have always been popular, but Noah, not Noah. Noah hasn't been this popular. So, of course, that's referencing this, Matthew chapter 24, verses 37 through 39. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So I think that this is the way it is. And also interesting that in Noah's day, only 8 people were saved. So if you're wondering why it seems like almost nobody is awake, it seems like it's few and far between who actually cares about the truth. It seems like everybody's a mindless zombie who's just going to willingly accept the mark of the beast. Well, in Noah's day, 8 people got saved. So how many people are going to get saved today? Luke chapter 10, verse 24. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. I just want to end with a positive note. So it's easy to forget that it is really special to be born in the time that we're born in, and that all of these amazing signs, and yeah, it sucks that we can't go outside because it's hazy and they're spraying the skies and all that, and it sucks that time is going so quickly that can't even, I feel disoriented, and people are literally getting vertigo, and all the days, it feels like Groundhog Day now for reals. And yeah, all this stuff sucks, but you just have to keep your eyes on the fact that we're there. Like, I don't think Noah liked the fact that he had to wake up every day and continue building the ark and continue telling people, you guys have no idea, it's really coming. And yeah, it sucks, but it's a really important time to be alive. You weren't chosen to be born in some, quiet time. God chose to make you born in one of the most interesting times that ever. This is the end. This is really the end now. And so it is a blessing, even though it's really difficult. God bless everyone.